Versatile Mage. Chapter 311. Ants on the Same String. Jiang Yi was not bothered by Mo Fan's action. She said with a cold and disdainful tone, "Do you think you're better than my soldiers?" Mo Fan's plan was fairly simple: to totally stir up chaos. The giant lizards would surely attack the humans, regardless of their sides. Mo Fan would end up being flanked by the giant lizards, but so would Jiang Yi and her soldiers. It all came down to who would be able to survive the ambush. Jiang Yi thought Mo Fan's resolution was too naive. Her soldiers were elites in the army. Each of them was responsible for hundreds of demon beasts' deaths. To them, surviving in the wild and battling against the demon beasts was considered nothing out of the ordinary. Meanwhile, the kid himself was only a student on his first training. To be blunt, he was just like a rookie in the army. Why would such a person think that he could rely on the demon beasts to escape? Even if the kid had 10 lives and died 10 times in a row, all of the soldiers on her side would still be alive. Stop disgracing the term battlemage. You're just a bunch of scum in the army. Were your sacred vows and oaths nothing but mere talk? Mo Fan cursed them without reservation. Mo Fan could tell that the female advisor Jiang Yi had the pride of a battlemage, as if she were utterly confident in the soldiers that she had trained. Indeed, it was impossible to tell who would be the last one standing in a situation like this. Mo Fan was only betting his life on the fact that he had a higher chance to survive with his 4 elements. Mo Fan had never minded giving others a piece of his mind. His mouth had never stopped. However, the accusations seemed to deal a heavy blow to Jiang Yi's backbone. She was proud to be a battlemage, thus it was her nature to obey orders, even though what they had done today was totally unforgivable. They had lost the titles, and would be thoroughly cast aside by the public soon. Lu Nian might be crazy over his ambition, but Jiang Yi was not the same. She could feel overwhelming guilt inside, but she tried to tell herself that it was all for a greater cause, even if it meant more sacrifices and committing serious offenses. Jiang Yi saw the giant lizards and tyrant lizards gathering around them in a circle. Any other magician would totally lose their minds seeing such an insane number of demon beasts. However, in their eyes, they were nothing but a bunch of filthy lizards. "If you think you will be the one surviving, I'll give you a chance," Jiang Yi laughed grimly. She ordered the soldiers behind her to get into position as she spoke. Oh, Mo Fan was rather surprised. Could it be that this ugly female advisor was attracted to his handsomeness, that she suddenly had a change of thought and would like to discuss things with him? "I won't be attacking you. I'll be having a bet with you using the lives of these soldiers. If one of them dies while you're still alive, I'll fulfill one of your requests," Jiang Yi said. Jiang Yi could not kill Mo Fan. As a matter of fact, she would have to protect him to a certain degree. Otherwise, how could he be their test subject if he was already dead? Mo Fan's action would result in either the fish dying or the net splitting. It would not bring any good to either side, so Jiang Yi might as well suggest a competition between the two sides. "Any request?" Mo Fan wore a grin. However, when he saw the giant lizards were less than 500 meters away, his smile stiffened a bit. "Apart from letting you go," Jiang Yi said, "you're not being sincere at all, even though we're ants on the same string now," Mo Fan replied easily. They were currently being surrounded by countless giant lizards. None of them would be able to leave without a fight. It was difficult to tell if any of them could survive in the end. Who would have the mood to start a competition now? "That's the most I can offer. If you were only a student, I won't even show you any respect," Jiang Yi replied. "I don't understand." Mo Fan was confused. "I've read your information. The favorable turn of Bo City's calamity, and the wipeout of the Black Vatican in Shanghai were both related to you," Jiang Yi said calmly. "I see. If you really have respect for me, then step aside. I don't think any good will come out of it if all of us were to die here." Mo Fan could tell that Jiang Yi was not too willing to be part of the operation, but she had no choice but to obey orders. "Can't do," Jiang Yi simply said. Screw it, I'm not in the mood, Mo Fan snapped back. He initially thought he could convince the advisor and redeem her fallen soul. Who knew that she was a piece of cold metal? They no longer had the time to exchange words. The closest giant lizard to Mo Fan was less than 100 meters away. Mo Fan noticed the beast was the size of a truck as it charged toward him. Its wide eyes were showing him how strong its desire was to eat some human flesh. Fire burst. Mo Fan cast the spell adeptly. The blazing rose flame drew a red arc down the street. The flame exploded on the giant lizard's body. The huge impact from the explosion knocked its body sideways while the fire spread rapidly across its body. The giant lizard was not dead, having an extremely thick layer of skin. A basic level magic was far from enough to kill it. The giant lizard, engulfed in flames, recovered and dashed right at Mo Fan furiously, as if it could not sense any pain. Die, you piece of shit. Mo Fan threw another fire burst forward with a disgusted look. This fire burst was directed at the giant lizard's lower jaw. The explosion blew its mouth apart. It was still alive as it dropped heavily to the ground, but it was pretty much useless. As Mo Fan engaged his giant lizard, the 13 soldiers cast their magic too. Since there were more people on their side, their scent was heavier, which attracted a greater number of giant lizards. The dense shuffle on the street indicated the insane amount of giant lizards making their way toward the group of soldiers. Their cries were exceedingly sharp, like a scream of thunder right beside their ears. Jiang Yi held her arms in front of her chest and stood in the middle of the group with an expressionless face. Not a single hint of fear could be seen. As a matter of fact, it was basically the same for her to die here or be sentenced to death later. However, she had to finish the mission. She cast a cold glance at her surroundings. If Mo Fan managed to survive, and her soldiers were dead. No way, she couldn't let him go. Since she had already made the wrong choice, she had to stay with it. The commander might be out of his mind, but since she had sworn an oath to remain loyal unconditionally, what difference would it make if she were to regret her actions now? Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.